It's the Forza Naples World Cup show. My name's Ian, and I am joined, as always, by Paul. We normally talk all things FC Naples. We are two lifelong friends, I think you could say, right, Paul?
Let's say, other than the first 364 days you were alive, you'd
Yes.
say on day 365 is when our friendship started.
Yes. So we grew up here in Naples, Florida, both born and raised here. Um, just huge sports fans, huge soccer fans. So we decided to start this podcast to cover all things FC Naples when the team was announced and started playing their first season in USL League One last season. And now, with it being the biggest summer of soccer ever here in the U.S., we are both proudly wearing our USA jerseys, and we thought it'd be fun to talk about the World Cup too. So here we are now. Paul, have you caught the World Cup fever?
I am really excited for this World Cup. I am all in on this team. Uh, Probably a tournament that's going to break our hearts, but if you can't get excited about this tournament every 4 years, um, I don't think you're a sports fan, let alone a soccer fan. You don't have to be a soccer fan to enjoy the spectacle that is this tournament, and the best players in the world are all going to be on our soil. Um, and that opportunity, and I'm looking forward to most is that these game times will be advantageous to American viewers. Normally you have to wake up at weird times, and I saw this tweet this week that was talking as a European that was upset about the game times, and it was like, you want to complain we have to wake up and watch your crappy teams fight relegation at 5 in the morning. You can stay up till midnight drinking, watching your team play for the summer. So it's going to be hot. I think there's hopefully going to be some home field advantage for us. And finally, it feels like we got guys from the top teams around the world, or top leagues around the world. So should be exciting. Should be fun.
Yeah, I think I'm just excited in general for. I wasn't really excited about the U.S. team. Was just excited for the World Cup, and it's the game starting at 3 o'clock, and all just watching soccer all day on Saturdays and Sundays, and having something to watch on the weekends in the slow summer. Like right now, we've got Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, but those are all going to wrap up pretty soon. The NBA Finals might be over, this week with how that's been going. But excited to have just this big summer of soccer, the world's best, all on display, all representing their country. So much more passion involved than just a club team that's paying your wages. From everywhere, whether it be from the Congo or Argentina or Colombia or Uzbekistan, there's so much passion all into this game. So that's what had me really excited. But then over the last 2 weeks, the U.S. went and beat Senegal and was really competitive with a really good German team. So now I am also all in on the U.S. men's national team. I'm ready. We're gonna keep the World Cup here in the U.S. and we're gonna take it home, I think.
Yeah, and I think what was cool about that Germany game, that's the first full game I've watched in this friendly tune-up time for the US. But a stat I saw was the last three times the US was eliminated from the World Cup, they gave up the first goal and gave up a second goal before finally scoring. And one of those was to a really bad Trinidad and Tobago team. Was that in 2018 when we didn't even
Mm-hmm.
qualify? So the fact that we were able to give up a cheap goal early, which confident will clean that up, a free kick against the back line that hasn't played too much together, and then I mean, what a goal from Jedi Robinson! One of the better goals I've ever seen, and probably the best goal, not the most impactful. At be Landon Donovan in 2010, but what an awesome, just as clean of a shot. And it's one of those goals, you always see these center backs take these crazy long shots that don't have a prayer of going in, and you see one go in and you understand why they do it. The right ball, the right foot, and sometimes it'll find the back of the net. So I think we're set up well. Um, in the group stage. I think we're on our home soil. Hopefully, we're adjusted to the heat and the travel schedule by now. The travel shouldn't be too bad for us early. Um, Yeah, I am very optimistic about this team, and I like the squad that they picked, and I think our biggest question marks at goalie, but I'm sure we'll talk more about that down the road.
Yeah, just to kind of cover U.S. men's national team here. Well, as we both sit here wearing our stripes jerseys, awesome kits. So you know it's going to be a good World Cup when you have great kits. Last World Cups, I think left a lot to be desired.
Hmm.
But this year, great kits, and be sure if you live in the Naples area, you got to go to Naples Super Soccer. They have all the team's kits. I went down, bought this for myself, my USA jersey, and they're gonna, I think, work with us and sponsor a little bit of trivia here, and we'll give away some Forza Naples swag to anyone that answers the questions correctly. So stay tuned for some of that to come throughout the World Cup, as well as FC Naples seasons. Any players stand out to you for this men's national team? Anyone who you are really excited to see in this World Cup?
So I'm a big Pulisic fan. Obviously, my main European team is Nottingham Forest. My second team is wherever Christian Pulisic is playing. Love following him. He didn't have a great year this season, but I think there's just something about when he puts on the stars and stripes and the leader. Really, just seems like a great dude and somebody that you can be proud to be the face of your team. So I think everybody should be excited for him. So I'm going to throw some names that aren't him because everybody listening to this probably knows who that is. The two guys I'm looking forward to most, Ricardo Pepi. I thought, pretty sure he got left off the 2022 roster, and I thought that that was a huge mistake. I think he's a phenomenal goal scorer. Will admit that I haven't followed his club track record as well as I did in 22, but he was a key player for PSV for a long time and scored a lot of goals for them. I think he got sold for a big transfer fee. So really excited to see what he can do up top. I'm not sure if he's going to be our full-time starter or if he'll be, a super sub at some point. And so very excited for that. And I'm going to go with Tim Weah as another one. I think I want to say Juventus is where he was for a while between World Cups. Just a guy that can really do it all. You can put him up at the number 9 spot, but he can also be an excellent wingback piece, provides a lot of positive things to the lineup, and really excited to see the impact that he can make and watch him take the next step forward.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about. I think you mentioned like Pulisic's the guy everyone's looking for. Um, I really like Serginho Dest. I think he's going to be really good. I think he had a great season for PSV. Um, Not going to lie, I didn't watch a lot of PSV games this season, but from what I've heard, he's the real deal, and I think he played really well against Germany. Weston McKennie, too, seems to be he's going to step up from Juventus. We've got a lot of guys in the Italian league. I think look for him. Malik Tillman, too, with Leverkusen. He's been a stud over there in Germany, so hopefully he can come in and kind of translate all that into something for this men's national team. Little concerned about Tim Ream, but he seems to be a big vibes guy. They awarded him with the captaincy, so he, I think, was old at the last World Cup, and he's even 4 years older now. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Jedi Robinson too has Anthony. I don't like the name Jedi Robinson, and he freaked me out when he did the backflip against Germany. But for Fulham, him and Tyler Adams are two guys that I think we both watch pretty regularly in England,
Hmm.
at Bournemouth and Fulham, and they're both easy names to put down on the team sheet for both of those teams, which has been and Adams will be playing in Europe next year with Bournemouth, so that's another cool thing to see. You mentioned too at goalkeeper. I think we that might be the weakest position that we have. When you think of the U.S., we've had some pretty great goalkeepers, and I think I know why the goalkeeper position is the weakest, and it's because we don't have a bald goalkeeper
Mm-hmm.
or someone with a ponytail like Tony Miola. I think we have the in between right now, and it's just not that's just not good enough. We need someone to look like Tim Howard, Brad Friedel, one of those guys, and we don't have that.
Yeah, no goalie that's doing crazy stuff like the Argentina keeper. There's just nothing memorable. And I think two of the three goalies are domestic guys. Have no idea where Matt Turner is playing club
New
wise
England
right now.
Revolution now. He
So
is
all
back home, so all
so,
three
so
domestic.
all three domestic. I think was it the Gold Cup in 24 or 23 where he was just unbelievable in penalties. Everybody thought that he was going to be the next big thing. I think he was backing up at Arsenal. A lot of hopes that he would be our guy, and we had the pleasure or displeasure, however you want to look at it, of watching him for Forest, and he was abysmal. Um, so I do have concerns there. I am just hopeful that our back line, our midfield, and our forwards are all so good. And I know the US gets a lot of hate. So I don't think any of those guys would make a world roster. And some of the top teams, we probably don't see a lot of guys start. But I think Pulisic is truly one of the top 10 um, you know, wingers, whatever position you want to call him, like there's a place for Pulisic on most rosters. And he probably starts for almost every country um, that's in this tournament. So I think, you mentioned Dest and McKinney, some big names that play on big clubs. I think Dest is going to sell for a lot this season, probably to Barcelona or Madrid is where he's been linked to. So some really high level talent. It's not like last year, our last World Cup, where we had guys on big teams, but they weren't impact players on those big teams. And I think that's where it's changed. AC Milan was as good as Pulisic was, and I think he got them to Champions League this season. So a lot to be excited about the quality everywhere else besides in net.
Yeah. And even looking at the bench strength too, like we haven't mentioned Haji Wright, who was tearing it up in the English Championship last year with Coventry. Alex and Dejas, which I'm told we should be excited about him. He's playing with Club America right now. Um, Again, didn't see much of him. Neither of those two guys featured in the friendly against Germany, but I hope to see them in the World Cup. And then Sebastian Berhalter too, I think has kind of come into his own at Vancouver Whitecaps. He led them to a MLS Cup final last season. They lost to Messi and Inter Miami, and I think that's exactly the result MLS wanted. So it's tough for Vancouver, but we just saw too. He announced it looks like he's going to England in the summer for a team that we're not going to name on this show, but a championship team. And I feel bad that he's got to go and live there. And hopefully he can find somewhere better to live in Nottingham, right across the street. But a lot of just more depth this year, so it is exciting. And I didn't have much excitement, like I mentioned, but more excitement now after that Germany and Senegal performance. And maybe we can put a little run together. And we made the semis in 1930. Why not make the semis this year?
Yeah, and a guy you didn't mention, and I don't know how much we'll talk about him during this World Cup, is Gio Reyna, who was supposed to be, a top global player, not just American, but really he just hasn't been able to get out of his own way. It seems like. So it'd be interesting to see if he accepts, a lesser role and could be a guy that could be a huge difference maker late in games when he's fresh and everybody's a little tired. Um, yeah, I think we're finally at a point where we could probably name just about every guy on our roster and what club he plays for, which is something we have not been able to do kind of in past iterations of the World Cup because it's been so domestically focused. And who really watches the MLS? Real American soccer fans watch the USL. So you
Exactly.
wouldn't know that.
And we've gone now almost 15 minutes without even mentioning the manager of the team, who I think is probably the best manager this team has ever seen with Mauricio Pochettino. And I don't know what he's doing with his hair, but it's working. I don't know if he's just been able to grow a lot more of it with a less stressful job. But it's man, that salad was looking pretty good from him.
Yeah, and
Um,
he'll be off to I think AC Milan next
mm-hmm.
year. It sounds like. Not
Yeah.
sure if that's official or not. I One question I have about his, feels like there's been a lot of controversy with him as a manager, kind of since he was hired. It seems like American soccer, if you want to call them U.S. soccer pundits, that I think are getting a little tiresome to listen to, especially some of the guys that were big in the early 2000s. But
Mm-hmm.
what were your thoughts on the way, I was it Diego
Diego Luna.
Luna, who didn't make the roster and got an email. First, I guess the question will be: are you surprised that he didn't make the team? Second, should Pochettino called him, or are you on board with an email in your inbox?
Yeah. To answer the first question, I think Diego Luna should have been in the squad. I don't know who you drop to bring him in because like the two weakest guys I think right now are at center back with Ream and Robinson. That's Miles Robinson, not Anthony Robinson, but those two guys I don't think should be here. But I don't know what other center backs you would take, so it's a position thing, right? You're playing a numbers game. Diego Luna, I think, puts everything on the line for this country. We saw him playing, all beat up with bloody noses, and he's just a great player at RSL. I think he could have brought so much, especially off the bench. If you need a goal or you need something created there late, you throw him in. You can plug and play him anywhere, and he can go and do it. You tell him what you need. He's I got you. Let me go do it. I would have loved to see him here. I don't know who you drop in order to bring him in. I initially thought Zendejas was that guy, but I'm told and from what I've read, he's really good and we should be excited about him. So frustrating not to see him here, but I guess that's just the way it goes. And, we talked about Ricardo Pepi making the squad. Maybe 4 years from now, we'll be talking about Luna coming in and he's going to be poised for a breakout spot with this men's national team. As far as how he told the team, it felt a little like high school sports of the coach is going to post who made varsity, who made JV, and who got cut outside of the locker room on Friday morning. So it's a little strange man management style. I guess he said he was a player. That's all he would want. So, and it was the same video even to everyone that did make the team. So it's like talk about excitement. And I don't know. I watch how heartbroken. I've never had the opportunity to play for my country, and I don't think I ever will, unless I like take off and maybe beach soccer or something. I don't know. Or maybe there'll be like an adult men's national team, but even then, I think I would struggle. But like, I just think back to Full Swing on Netflix with the Ryder Cup, and seeing how heartbroken those guys are and how excited they are to be called from the captain of the team of you're in the squad or you're not. And I think there's got to be some translation there. So I'd love to get the true opinion of the players of what they think. And I'm sure once he moves off to AC Milan, hopefully he's still invested enough with this U.S. team to put a World Cup run together. But I think we'll kind of hear that truth. And it was very, very strange, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the Luna situation's tough because we did see him because so many of our ones opted out, and it's that adage: should he have been put in for his dedication to the club or to the country? And I don't think he is more talented. Maybe Gio Reyna is a guy that I think he maybe could have been put in for. Um, that's probably who I would have dropped for a Luna. I think total opposite styles. But you already wasted one roster spot on a locker room guy. If you want to make a deep run, you can't do it with two. I do also think that it hurts the American game when being, one of the big names in the domestic league doesn't get you onto the World Cup
Hmm.
roster. So that is, one thing that I'll stick to is like it doesn't show great health in, it's great that we do have these guys playing all across the world. But the MLS just isn't one of the big five. And probably won't be for at least another decade, if ever. So, um, yeah,
Well,
and
and like you said, he showed up in those the Gold Cup and the CONCACAF Nations League, and these smaller tournaments that no one else really wanted to play in. Like he's the one guy that was showing up for him.
mhm.
So it stinks that he wasn't rewarded with a spot based off of that, but nonetheless, unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, and I think hopefully it sounds like Pochettino brought in some discipline in these guys. I think that you look at that 1980 Olympic hockey team that we still talk about to this day, and those were a bunch of college kids that had a coach that knew what it took to win and what you needed to do to be at that level. I think sports is a lot different these days, but coach with some discipline, and hopefully these guys are going to play for the crest on the front of the jersey a little bit more because they're not trying out for European teams because they're already there.
Yeah, that's the hope. And the guys that are in the MLS now, we've seen them even before they get the call up and before the performance. Some of them are getting offers to make moves, and it's yeah. Hopefully, everyone can pull on that shirt and be ready to go and go play for the crest. And the name on the front's a lot more important than the name on the back, just like Herb Brooks would say. So
Yeah.
go ahead. I'll let you finish your thought,
Oh
and then we can look at the pick our
no,
winners and losers.
I was gonna move us that way anyway. So I'll let you lead the
All right.
charge.
So we thought it would be a little fun. We love to predict our winners. So far, we've only ever done this in the USL, the Prinks Tire slash Jägermeister Cup, and they were not great. So you might want to go the other way on our picks, but we were going to pick who we think is going to win each group. We'll start then with, and then we'll give you our dark horses and who we think is the big name that we're going to see fall, whether that be not get out of the group stage or just lose in the round of 32. Expanded field this year too, so it's not your typical 32 teams. If you're just now learning that, it is 48 teams. How
48
big is it now?
teams.
48
48
teams.
teams.
So it is groups A through L, and then the top two from each group will advance, as well as the top 8 third place finishers. How does the bracket look? Well, it's all been predetermined by FIFA, so there's a bunch of different possibilities. So depending on where everyone falls, the bracket's kind of already been predetermined. Those are all available. We're not going to bore you with them on here, but just know, depending on who wins each, the knockout stage just gets a little funky in there. But nonetheless, let's run through our winners of the group. So who we think is going to finish top of the group and advance into the next round. So we'll start with Group A. We'll go alphabetically. Group A is Czechia, or the Czech Republic, Mexico, South Africa, and South Korea. Paul, who do you like out of this group?
South Africa in this one, correct? Not South Korea
Both
in
South
Group A.
Africa and South Korea.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, got distracted. I don't love the expanded field. I like that more small teams get in. Makes the group a little less enticing because you get 8 teams that can lose all their games, draw one, and they can still advance somehow. But to go this group, you got to go with one of the host countries, Mexico, to win. I'm going with South Korea. They got that one really good guy that used to play for Spurs, and it seems like everybody that leaves Spurs does really well. So I'm going to go with South Korea to come in second in that one.
I like that. I think I'm gonna go Czech Republic and Mexico. I just Czech Republic, or Czechia as they're now known. They've played well in the Euros. And then, like you said, Mexico as host nation. I think there's always so much pressure on Mexico, even more this year. So I think they'll get stumped in one of these games. But I think they will advance, and they're good enough to beat South Africa or South Korea to get out of that group. To Group B we go. We've got Bosnia and Herzegovina, who you might remember beat Italy late on in the European qualifiers, as well as Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland. What are your thoughts on Group B?
Yeah, this is your first example of teams that should not be in this tournament. And what a gift it was to both Canada and Switzerland, the only two quote unquote good teams in this group, in my opinion. I actually like Canada to win this group. I know Switzerland is the favorite, but I'm going to go with Canada to top the group and Switzerland to be the second automatic qualifier.
Yeah, I think Canada's going to be sneaky good, but I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go Switzerland to win the group and Canada to get out. Canada, I think, is going to be sneaky good, and I think they're going to show the world kind of how good Canadian soccer has gotten over the last few years, and it'll be cool to see them get out of that group, as well as a co-host with a couple host spots. To Group C. Group C, we see Brazil, Haiti, Morocco, and Scotland. What a group that one is. What do you like in Group C?
Yeah, I really hope Scotland does get that third place spot and can move on. I think it would be a lot of fun to see them in a knockout stage game. But I'm going with Brazil, followed by Morocco in Group C.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. If Brazil doesn't win this group, there will be riots. Morocco is also really good.
Hmm.
They're hosting along with Spain and Portugal in 4 years. I don't sleep on Morocco. I think they could be a dark horse to go far in this tournament. So I'm going to go with Morocco as well. So Brazil, Morocco, we're the same on that one. But yeah, I'm with you. I really hope Scotland gets out of this group. No Scotland, no party, as they like to say. And maybe we'll see the U.S. government there legalize haggis because it's currently illegal. That is the national dish of Scotland. We won't tell you what it is. You should definitely look that up on your own whenever it's safe to do so if you're listening to us while you're driving. Group D features the USA, so it's as well as Australia, Paraguay, and Turkey. Who do you like in this group?
I think everybody's sleeping on this Paraguay team, me included. I have them coming in third, probably going to get out of the group if to the knockout stage. But Turkey is going to be tough, and I'm going to take us to win the group. Turkey to come in second, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in another episode. But coming in second in this group probably a little more advantageous come knockout stage time. But I don't think Americans think that way, and we need to win this group. So taking us, followed by Turkey.
Yeah, hot take, but I think this might be one of the toughest groups. Paraguay, I don't think I could name you a player on their national team. To be completely honest, I've not seen much about them. I think Miguel Almiron from Atlanta United plays for them. Yes, he does. I just looked it up. We're doing real time research as we go through these. But sneaky good group. Paraguay looked really good in their preseason friendly. And did you see the fireworks display that's been all over social
Yep,
media?
their send off.
We think our SEC football is crazy. Like soccer in Paraguay, insane. And Turkey and Australia are also really good. They're currently ranked 20. Australia's 27th. Turkey's 22nd. So this is a tough group. All that being said, I think Turkey's going to win it, and I think the U.S. is going to come second. I think we'll lose one game in here, maybe win the others, or draw one, lose two, and we lose out on goal difference. But I like Turkey. They qualified late in those European qualifiers. But yeah, I think Turkey's good. So watch out for them. Group E. This is another interesting group here. It's Curacao, Ecuador, Germany, and the Ivory Coast. Ecuador, Germany, and Ivory Coast all pretty good. Curacao, I think is just going to be happy to be here, but I'll let you pick your winners here.
Yeah, somebody that has been to three of the four countries here. The team that's going home is the one that I would want to go home to. That is Curacao. I like Ivory Coast to get out of the group, but Ecuador followed just behind Germany. I think Germany's going to see a really good Ecuadorian side, but they're going to be able to get through and they will win the group.
I'm with you on Curacao. I've been to Aruba, which is down there, but adding Curacao to the list because it looks absolutely beautiful. Some of the best kits too, both their home and away kits, it's stunning. But yeah, I think they're going to be happy to be here. I think it's Germany is going to kind of walk away with it, and then I like Ivory Coast to get out as well. I think Ecuador will probably get easily lock up a third place spot. But I think Ivory Coast is going to get it done, and we've got a couple Ivory Coast players from Forest there, so they've got a soft spot. Plus, their logo's cool with the elephant,
Hmm.
as well as good kits. Group F, we've got Japan, the Netherlands, Sweden, and Tunisia. Who do you like here?
Could Do you know where Tunisia is? Do you have any idea?
Believe they're in the Middle East.
Yeah, I don't know. No idea. Probably the only country I couldn't point out on a map in this field, but doesn't matter 'cause they'll be going back home pretty soon. Going with Netherlands, followed by Japan.
Yeah, I think that's the easy play. Um, Netherlands, I think, is one of my going to be my dark horse teams, but I'm with you on Netherlands and Japan. Tunisia, it is as Forest fans, we are obliged to point out Sabre Lamouchi, who used to be Forest manager until about 2020. He was there for a couple years. He is their manager, so it'd be kind of funny to see him coaching up Tunisia in the World Cup. But yeah, Netherlands and Japan I think is the easy play there. Sweden too, pretty good, but no Zlatan Ibrahimovic, so can't pick them to win. Group G consists of Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Who do you like here?
For the plot, Iran coming in second, playing the US, potentially if they come in second, would make for great television. Unfortunately, this group is too good. Um, to me, this is probably the best group. That's because our boy Chris Wood is leaving New Zealand into the knockout stage, going New Zealand to win the league or win the group, followed by Belgium, who's also really really good.
Yeah, you mentioned
And then Egypt will get out because they're also a pretty solid team. So I think they will be the third, one of those third place teams that moves on.
I'm with you there. I like Belgium and Egypt to get out. Belgium, I think, team to watch. Such a small country there in Europe, but man, they've got a team. Egypt too, with Salah and a lot of
Hmm.
good Egyptian talent. They, I think these guys, a team that you don't necessarily think of when you think of soccer, but I like Egypt to get out of that group as well. Group H. Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, Spain, and Uruguay.
So I've only been to one of these countries. Which country have I been to in this group? Do you know?
Is it Cape Verde?
It is Cape Verde. Uh, the best Italian food I've ever had in Cape Verde, the best pizza I've ever eaten in Cape Verde was there in 22 during the African Nations Cup. And let me tell you, it was a great time. So I'm going to take them to be that third place wild card. They're not going to be able to come overcome Spain and Uruguay, who is 1 and 2 respectively.
Yes, Spain and Uruguay. Legit. Are you going Spain one, Uruguay second?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll flip it around just for content's sake. I think Saudi Arabia also gets out of the group. I think they seem to be pretty good. Maybe they found something here. But I'll go Uruguay number one, Spain number two.
It's because you've never had the pizza in Cape
I
Verde.
have never been to Cape Verde. Cape Verde's logo has a shark on it, though. Their crest and sharks are just cool. So props to them. Um, I might need to pick up a Cape Verde jersey for the World
Been
Cup.
to been to two of the islands. Both were not high on my card of places I wanted to go. I'm very thankful that I was lucky enough to go. So, um, yeah, great vacation spot. Very affordable. They say the rich people in Europe go to the Canary Islands, and the middle class goes to Cape Verde. And I had a good time.
Good. I've only ever been out of that group. I've been to Spain, and Spain is also a lot of fun, especially my peeps out on the island of Majorca. Cool spot. Group I. Now we've got France, Iraq, Norway, and Senegal.
This is a fun one. I went to two Cape Verde Islands because I didn't get to go to Senegal. I'm sending France through. They're going to win the group. I think that's a no-brainer, not even worth talking about. And how can you bet against Holland? I just don't know how you do that. He's going to backpack that team to the second place spot.
Yeah, the Viking power there from Norway. I think they'll send a pretty good contingent over too. But yeah, you're right. France is, I think, one of the odds-on favorites to win the World Cup, having won it 8 years ago, finalist last year. I watch out for them. I think Senegal gets out as well. I'll go Senegal number 2. I think Norway will make it out as the third place team from that group. Group J then, Algeria. This is the all A's in a J group. Algeria, Argentina, Austria, and Jordan.
Yeah, they should have swapped Australia and Jordan, would have made this a fun group to follow. Not much here other than Argentina being gifted the easiest path to a World Cup semifinal. I'm going to go with them, followed by Austria.
Yeah, Argentina, I think, could repeat. It's going to be this tournament is by far the hardest tournament to win in all of sports. So you never know who could step up and get them. But I'm going to go Argentina, and I'll go Jordan just for the fun of it. I don't know a lot about Jordan, but they're ranked number 63 in the world, and I couldn't really figure out why. But so I'll back Jordan to get out. But I think the mass confusion that would have been caused had Austria and Australia been in the same group, that would have been fun to see. We've got two groups left here. Group K is Colombia, DR Congo, Portugal, and Uzbekistan.
Yeah, you're gonna go. I think Colombia is gonna win this group. A really good team there, and then Ronaldo in his final World Cup. Has been killing it over in Saudi Arabia. So those are gonna be my 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, I like Portugal to win it, Colombia to come second. Maybe it's my Euro bias there, but I think Portugal, you look at some of the names on that team, and it's top superstars from around the world, including Ronaldo in his final World Cup, probably. Who knows? That man might play soccer forever. But yeah, Portugal and Colombia, that'll be a fun game to watch too in the group stage. A must see for that one. I believe it's happening June 27th on a Saturday, so that'll be a fun Saturday night. Moving on, our final group is Group L, which consists of Croatia, England, Ghana, and Panama.
Yeah, and I think this is a group that would be the most intriguing if only two teams could go through. I think that this is the group where somebody could get sucker punched. I think the odds-on favorite, one of the favorites to win the tournament is England. Croatia's a really close second, in my opinion. But Panama could be sneaky. Having just been there, that country is fully backing that team, and I will be going down there shortly after the World Cup, and fingers crossed that maybe a World Cup celebration for them winning. Unlikely but possible. And then Ghana, just a team that you only know if you watched the World Cup. I think in 2010 is the only way that you would know Ghana existed. Knocked us out, I believe, in 2010. So I'm going to stick with England and Croatia, I think, but I like Panama to get out, be one of those third place teams. But this would be a really fun group, in my opinion, if only two could advance.
Yeah, Ghana's got a couple random players that you've heard of, like Semenyo and the Ayew brothers. But yeah, I think England, it's kind of England's to lose. If
Hmm.
England does not win the group, I think it'll be chaos in back home and for all the Brits here. But I'll go England and Croatia to get out. I do like Ghana as well to sneak out as a third place team, but I think this one's going to be tough, and it, it would also be kind of funny to see with all the drama around England's squad selection, them not make it out of the group would be pretty funny. Or to make it out of the group as a third place team and get stuck playing someone really good. So who knows with that one? England struggled against New Zealand in their preseason friendly, but you picked New Zealand to finish first in their group. So Chris Wood, more power to
Chris
you.
Wood. Chrissy Wood. Yeah, I think what this tournament's going to lack is that group of death feel. I feel like it's always been our group is that we're kind of that third place team globally ranked. So losing that does make the group stage a little less interesting, but just the different pathways, and I previewed it with the USA. Um, they would have to play Argentina, but that group, it's Argentina should walk to the semifinals. That bracket is really weak. And then England on the flip side, if they win the group, they would be good until the quarterfinals where they theoretically have to play Brazil. But if they lose, now you got Spain in the second round, and then probably, a potentially a Belgium or a team like that, or the US, and England can't beat the US. So a lot of different avenues, which makes it a little fun, but just missing that group of death, um, where every group stage is life and death is a little disappointing, but really looking forward to the tournament and the setup.
Yeah, who do you like as a dark horse team, kind of your team from nowhere to make put a little run together in this World Cup?
Yeah, I teased it with New Zealand because I think that would be the biggest upset that I predicted. But I'm gonna go with Ecuador. I think if they were in a lot of other groups, I would actually like them to win their group. There's only a few teams I probably would have picked above them, but I think Ecuador is a team that can make some noise in this tournament. They'll have large fan base supporters over here, and those games are going to be nuts. So I'm going to take Ecuador probably to win a knockout stage game. To me, that's the upset. If they can win a knockout stage game, where they would probably have to play a Norway side. If they come in second, Norway comes in second, they'd be playing Norway before having to face most likely Brazil. So don't see them going much further, but an Ecuador Brazil round of 16 game would be awfully exciting.
Yeah, it's important to remember too. I think last year in the semifinals, we got Croatia and Morocco, both putting on these deep runs. So I think we're trying to figure out now who those two teams are gonna be this year. For me, you mentioned Ecuador. That's a great pick. I like Egypt too. I think Egypt could put a little run together, as well as potentially Morocco again. There's a lot of good teams and a lot of good talent, but I think I might have to go Croatia again because they just always seem to find a way to get it done. I don't know if it's those checkerboard jerseys or what, but they have always figured out a way to put a run together in these World Cups. We saw them in the final a few years ago too, so who knows? But I really like Croatia to put a little run together and go far in this tournament. Not sure how much of a dark horse pick that is because they were in the semis last year, but I think people often forget about that.
Mhm.
It's been 4 years. So, who do you like, or who do you think is going to be the big team that gets upset or doesn't get out of the group or loses in the round of 32 or doesn't make it, we'll say doesn't make it past the round of 16?
It's tough, right? Because of the way the bracket is filled out, it's not as easy, and some of these one seeds get the cupcake third place team, and because the expanded field, those third place teams will probably be weaker. But then you got to go face a number two, versus a lot of the two seeds, or the ones that don't, will play a two seed in the first round. Anyway, it's going to be Germany. I think it's going to be Germany that falls. Um, they would have to play France in that second round in the round of 16.
Hmm.
Um, and who knows who their first draw would be. So I think just pulling the math, I think it's going to be Germany that drops to France team. Unfortunate that they're going to play in the round of 16 because both those teams could be a finals matchup if the bracket was a little different. So I'm going to pick Germany as my team to not make it where they think they should be.
I think that's a good pick just because of how the bracket's falling. I think my pick is going to be Brazil. I think there's so much hype around them as there is every year, and we've never really seen them get it done. This country too is they're starving for a World Cup victory. They've got so many good players, and I think Carlo Ancelotti is a great coach, but I can see them, stumbling kind of out of the gates. They don't have a lot of tough matches either. Coming like in their group stage, so you've got Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. Morocco is kind of the only test there for them. And then I could see them coming out really flat in their round of 32 or round of 16 game and struggling to get anything done, and they lose. So that's just kind of my bold prediction there is Brazil to struggle to get past the round of 16.
Yeah, and the way that this is kind of shaped out, and the bracket's going to be the talking point I have so much because I was looking at that. And if they do stumble against Morocco, you're like, oh, they're in trouble. But once again, they might be better off. I think that's some of the issues we're seeing with the way the bracket is you might be better off coming in second because you're looking at if they come in second, their first round would be the winner of Group F, which is probably going to be the Netherlands. So yeah, tough game. Um, but then you would face probably the winner of Korea in Canada, and it's like, okay, so the Netherlands is a tough spot, but then you can move on and face a cupcake in that round of 16. So it's almost like that first knockout stage is really like the play-in to the real tournament. I would say that the round of 16 is where the tournament becomes, your traditional FIFA World Cup point because that first round should just weed out the really weak teams that were able to advance based on point differential, or thanks to because the expanded field, there aren't these really deep groups, and there's a couple groups you're looking at. None of these teams would be winning a knockout stage game if it was only 16 teams.
Yeah, that's I think like much like March Madness where anyone can beat anybody on any given day. If you have an off day and
Hmm.
Cape Verde's made it through and they are all firing on all cylinders, watch out. It's single elimination. There's no home and home. It's not a best of seven. It's you've got 90 minutes or 120 minutes to get it done, and if you don't, you go home. So I'm excited for that possibility of maybe we will have a couple more upsets now in the round of 32 of
Hmm.
teams that are already looking forward to the round of 16 because they think they're going to beat up on this little guy that barely made it through when they get caught sleeping. Or maybe we won't when it'll just be a really chalky bracket like we have kind of seen recently in March Madness. So either way, I'm excited for this tournament now, excited for the random games on random days, and I genuinely can't wait for, Bosnia against Qatar or, your Ecuador Curacao game and Egypt versus New Zealand. Like, you'll find me in front of the TV watching it, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to do these in addition to the Naples podcast for the next 6 weeks or so. Um, do you have any desire to try to venture off to a game? Slash, would you only go to a US/England game, or would you, if you had the opportunity, would you go to just take advantage of it being on home soil?
Honestly, the hassle that it seems like to go to these games and the cost of the tickets, unless the tickets were given to me, I kind of have no motivation to go. I'd much rather just watch it on TV, and it being played in NFL stadiums. I don't think there's going to be a lot of atmosphere at the games unless it is, like one of these teams that has brought their whole country here. I would much rather save money and go to Spain, Portugal, Morocco in 4 years, and go see games in big state, like go see a game in the Bernabeu, go see a game at the Camp Nou, and somewhere different that's not the Kansas City Chiefs Stadium or
Hmm.
where the Rams play. Um, I think it would be fun, but I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars to go see us. I'd much rather just stay home, watch it on TV, and enjoy.
I think Paraguay Turkey is in my neck of the woods. One of these games, so I might, if the ticket price gets below $200, I might take the drive down just to get the experience. Depending on that round of 32 game is also at Levi Stadium. I would consider it, but I looked, it was about $900 for the cheapest ticket for
Yeah,
that.
no,
And right now they're in like, I think the 330s for any of the other games. I'm like, I'm just not going to pay that type of money when I would
right.
probably much, I would probably enjoy it more with the, the $20 six pack of Guinness or, a 30 rack at the house rather than a $40 beer in the stadium. So I think that lot in the news about this tournament. I think there's going to be even more. Hopefully, it doesn't plague the overall spectacle that it is, but I do anticipate some interesting events between fan bases, mixing in some beer, and it's probably why there's no tailgating allowed. Um,
Yeah. Well,
so,
plus just seeing everyone else, like the rest of the world, get exposed to American soccer. Whether it be the
mhm.
corner flags aren't actually in the ground, it's just on a little disc that sits on top of it. And like I saw images on social media of that, and they were like, "What the heck is going on?" Or, the goals that we use being weighed down by sandbags instead of being anchored in the ground because it's
Anchored
a
in.
American football field that they're playing on. Stuff that we're all used to, but you forget that that's not how it is in the rest of the world. Hopefully, it is a good tournament and it does go off, but I'm sure there'll be a lot more little American nuances or Canadian nuances, or they seem to have it figured out down in Mexico, so that shouldn't be an issue. But it,
Watching some of these tune-up games, the water break. Thoughts on that? I was very happy to see you watching the Germany game. They didn't cut to commercial, which was going to be my beef. If we're going to go to commercial, not on board with it.
mm-hmm.
But if it's, it is going to be hot in a lot of these areas. And if we can see the best players stay fit, I think that makes for a better tournament down the road.
Yeah, I
But are
think
they
it's
going to do water breaks inside in the domes in Atlanta? Are they going to
they
have a water
are
break?
they are just to be consistent. So I think it adds a more tactical thing too as well. Kind of letting the coaches bring the teams in, talk through it, and for 2-3 minutes while they're all getting water. So hopefully it is for the better. We didn't see commercials in the USA Germany game. Hopefully we don't in the World Cup, but who knows with FIFA and Fox and a lot still to be said. But I'm curious to see how it goes, and we'll have to check back in on that after kind of the first round of games. Our thoughts.
Yeah, and are we gonna close with the winner?
Yeah, who's your winner?
The US of A, baby. We're going all the way. Give me the United States. Whether we win the league, win the group, or we come in second, the path gets easier if we come in second. We're gonna send that Messi guy back to Miami where he belongs. If we win the group, we're gonna get a much tougher path, but we're gonna get it done.
I love your optimism. I would love to see that. I am gonna go the Netherlands. I think it's their year. They've not won one yet. Watch out. Those orange jerseys, the orange bus. I think it's gonna be the Dutch. The Dutch get it done. Finally, they win the World Cup. That's my prediction. Not sure how they can play the U.S., but maybe they'll play the U.S. in the final. Doubt. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna lose my Homer optimism here for a minute. I doubt it. If we make it past the round of 16, I'll be thrilled. But you didn't hear that from me. I'll be excited watching every single game, thinking we can win. Um, But I think that's going to do it on our first ever Forza Naples World Cup Show podcast. Be sure to share this podcast with your friends. Be sure to follow us on social media at Forza Naples Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can reach out to us, forzanaples239@gmail.com as well. And stay tuned for more World Cup content as well as your regularly scheduled FC Naples content as well. Thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, Forza Naples, and I believe that we will win.